come on up. Our next presenter is probably going to be your favorite just because she brought chocolate. Sorry, guys.
So guess what I do?
This is Jill Marie Carré, and she has a chocolate. You're a chocolatier.
No, my husband is a chocolatier.
Okay, your husband is the chocolatier.
I am the official taster, which is a much better job.
Much better job, yes. And they have two retail stores in town now, one in Carpinteria and one in downtown Santa Barbara, and it's Chocolat du Calais du Bresson.
Chocolat du Calais Bresson, and I'll explain that name to you when I get started here.
Okay, can I help you? Can I help you?
Well, now I have to say, I don't know how many we are here, but these are boxes of 24, so there's 48 pieces.
So nobody take two.
So yes, and
oh my
there
gosh.
will be, I think if we start one in the back and one in the front on both sides, and there.
I'll handle this one.
There are some brochures. Kristen, you want to take some of the brochures as well, and I'll.
Sure.
So that will explain what some of those are. So hello everybody. Again, my name is Jill Marie and Carré. My husband is Jean-Michel Carré. And I, not like these lovely ladies, I have no technical background. I have no high level of college background. I come from a family who are not entrepreneurs. I come from where the best thing I wanted to do was get out of the house when I turned 18 and just get out. And what to do in that was to find a job. My first job was 15 years old. I got to work in an A&W root beer where they did the roller skates and all that. So my career was set. I was going to be in the food industry, and I always was in restaurants. I've done everything in restaurants. I've done everything. And I love people. I love being around people, and this worked for me. And at my age, which I'm not 20 anymore, but restaurants were very easy to get. Jobs like that, you could get them and leave them and get them and leave them. So for what I wanted in my life, to be able to move, and which I did, I traveled and I worked everywhere. So I was in the restaurant business. After about, probably about 29 years old, I said, you know, I'm kind of tired of this lifestyle because you're up till 2 o'clock in the morning. You work at night. I mean, if you want to work and make some money, you work the night shift. And I got tired of being in the night shift. So I said, what am I going to do so I can get into like a regular life, hours? So I went back to hair school. And so I went to hair school and I got my license and I opened a hair salon with 3 other girls. So I did that for 10 years, and I met a French man who came from France to work in a French restaurant of someone that I knew. And he was a chef de cuisine. And so of course I met this guy, and maybe 4 months later I was married to him. If someone told me at 35 years old I was going to be married, I would say, you're crazy, because I'm not interested. Not that I was never going to get married, I just wasn't in the plan. I had a business going, and so anyway, I was married to him, and after 4 years in San Diego, because I met him in California, we discussed what we were going to do. Are we going to stay here and him continue to work in a restaurant and me have the hair salon, or do you want to move back to France? So we decided we'd move back to France. I knew no French at all, and another adventure. It was wonderful. So we moved to France. We didn't know what we would do. In the long run, we wanted to open a restaurant, because after all those 10 years of getting out of the restaurant business, here I marry somebody who throws me back into the restaurant business. Not by choice, of course by choice, because it's what we both knew. And so we moved back to France, and he was going to stay with me, take a job during the day so he could be with me in the evening and help teach me French. Well, I'll tell you, it's like having your husband teach you how to drive. You know, it just doesn't work. You don't learn French from your husband. So what I did, he wound up taking a job that took him. He opened up a hotel and a restaurant. They were in the process of building it, and they hired him to come in and do the kitchen part. So he was gone day and night, which left me in France, no French, on my own. It was great. It was the best thing he ever did. I learned French. Every time I walked out that door, I had to learn the language, or I'd be stuck inside watching American TV, which was not my point at all. So I learned the language. My first job was a month later. I got a job in an exercise pool teaching exercises. All I had to do was count up to 30 and then start all over again, you know. So that was great. And then the next season, because I had started my paperwork, but I was not a French citizen. I am now a French citizen, and I'm an American citizen. I have dual citizenship, but at the time, so I would work in this little village, Saumur-en-Auxois. It's near Dijon, in between Paris and Dijon. That's where we wound up living. And I forgot my train of thought. Job. I was working every season. Every season I got a new job in a different place. I worked in an exercise place. I worked in a bar. I worked in a hair salon. I worked, you know, all of that to get me another level of language, which was great. It was new dialogue every place I went. Also learning my driver's license, because the thing with French and America, if I came from Florida, I wouldn't have had to take my driver's license over, but coming from California, I had to. It was the greatest thing I ever did, because the room was open. I could go in any time for however long I wanted, look at the diagrams and the videos of all of the scenarios of the car situations in French, and I was learning French all day long. It was great. Anyway, so for 4 years, Jean-Michel worked in a restaurant. I did all these odds and ends because our goal was to open a restaurant. I needed to learn how to speak this language if I'm going to answer phones and do this. So that's what we did. We opened a restaurant. It took us a while because, you know, you think you have 35 years behind you of restaurant business. No matter what business you do, don't ever take it for granted. Banks will say that's really nice, that's great, it looks good on the resume and everything, but when you want to get money for a loan, you need to really be creative, and you have to be persistent. You have to be persistent. We wound up opening our restaurant. We bought an old building. Of course, all buildings in France are old, but we bought this building that was older than the United States. It was wonderful. It was not a restaurant. It was empty. It had the cave below where we started digging out, and it turned out to be like the exit way for all the monks when they were invaded in the villages, and so it had great history. It was wonderful. It was 4 levels, and we lived on top. We had our apartment on top, and we created the restaurant down below. It was wonderful. We did that for, let's see, we had the restaurant for 14 years, and during that 14 years, it was wonderful. It was a success, hard work. Restaurant business, any business is hard, but you, like she was saying, you have to know every angle of your business. I had to clean toilets. I had to do everything. I had to know how to do that because I had people that didn't show up to work. What do? You do it. You do it. You don't go, what am I going to do, close the door? You don't close the door. You do it. And you have to know how to do it all. You have to know how to do it all. So it's a lot of work. Restaurant business, like any business, you put in a lot of hours. We're getting up at 4, going to bed at 2. You have a break in between the 2. But what do? You do paperwork, you do your ordering, you do whatever. Maybe you get off your feet, you know, for a couple hours, but you're still working. We did 14 years. After about 12 years, I was really missing California. I was missing California. I was missing the sun. We lived in Burgundy. Beautiful, but it's kind of like on the same level as Seattle. So, you know, beautiful, green, and wonderful. But it's, again, being in a restaurant, living on top, there were weeks I never even got out. You know, I mean, really. You live in a small village, you can walk to the store, you walk everywhere. It's wonderful. The bread was right across the way. You know, they're making the baguettes and you're going to get them. And, you know, it's great, but you never get out. And I was missing some sun. I was missing California. And I was also missing the language, you know. I can speak French and everything, but, you know, you kind of miss some American lingo, you know. It's just different. And so our plan then was to sell the restaurant. We were both getting tired of restaurant business. We would come back to California to visit and see where we wanted to be when we came back and what we wanted to do. And so at the time we came to Santa Barbara, looking around, we were thinking of another restaurant at that time. So when we came to visit, we looked, and you know, we looked all in down. But Santa Barbara attracted us. And I'm originally from down south, and we originally left San Diego to go to France, but we always were pulled back in this direction. But anyway, we said, let's put the restaurant up for sale. It took us 4 years. I tell you, that was the hardest 4 years of my life. I wanted to come back so bad. And so, you know, it was hard to sell it. You're selling a house and a business, and it's not separate because you don't want to come back and worry about the apartment. You want to be able to sell it all and go back. So that's what we did. We sold everything, took us 4 years, and then we came back we actually landed in San Diego, and it took us a year to go from San Diego to Napa Valley to check out and see what we wanted to do. We closed our restaurant November 19th of 2006, and we gave ourselves 1 year to relocate and reopen another business. That was our goal. And after coming back and searching up and down and seeing where we wanted to live, deciding that it was going to be a chocolate boutique and not a restaurant, because Jean-Michel always made chocolate, but we only sold it at Christmas time. But that would get us out of the restaurant business into something that was still creative. And I'm out of the restaurant business, but you know, that was great. That was great. We thought the hours would be a little different. They are different, but we still put in the same amount of hours. We still put in a lot of hours. Again, you have to love what you do. Jean-Michel has patience of steel. He loves what he does. Those chocolates will prove his patience. They are not only beautiful to look at, but they are all different, and they're all just delicious. They're all just wonderful. Absolutely. So anyway, so that's what we decided to do, and we found a place in Carpinteria because here we're new from France. No one knows us. No one has any idea of what we do or who we are, and there's other chocolate places. I checked out all of the competition all over, and so we had to do something that was going to be different, and we also had to get our weight. We had to get our feet in the ground and start it. So we found a place in Carpinteria. So people always go, why are you not downtown? You're in a business park. People, you know, they don't know where you are. Now after 4 years, people know where we are, and it's good. But in the beginning, no one knew who we were. They were going downtown, and when we didn't get any walk-in traffic at all. But what we did is we got the back space, which is a kitchen space, and that's what we needed. We needed a big kitchen space with a little front that would be our storefront. That's what we did. We opened it, and within a period of 4 years, we are able to open up a second shop. So persistence, you have to love what you do, and we're going strong in Carpinteria. Just since May, we've been in La Arcada, in State and Figueroa, and it's a totally different feel because it's just retail and it's more elegant. And the other shop is more kitchen, but we have a nice elegant front. But in 4 years, in this economy, we've been able to open 2 stores, and a lot of perseverance, a lot of belief in yourself, and have other people believe you too. And so you give away a lot of chocolate. Thank you. Thank you.
Well, I'm going to have you all just come up and kind of be in the hot seat, and I know that I have some questions, and I'm sure that the students here have questions as well. So
I think you should sit by your bear.